All right, I guess I'm live. I'm live. Am I live? I don't even know if I'm live. My channel just hit, or our channel, not my channel, but our channel just hit 1,000 subscribers, which gives us the opportunity to do live video from our mobile phone. And a couple things I'm testing out this morning. One, holy cow, the sun's coming up, so it's super bright on this one side of my face, but um, I don't know if I can turn one way or the other, maybe be better. I don't know. This might get annoying, but anyways, kind of testing a couple things. We have, as many of you probably have, terrible internet where you kind of live away from town. We're not that far away from town, but man, we just don't have any we don't have any internet options that are very good. So live videos at different parts of the day, but it's just ridiculous. So I thought maybe I'd try it in the morning here, and it's always hard for me to tell on my side as I'm doing it if I've got a decent internet happening or not. Um, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. So, anyways, um, so I'm testing out that to see what the quality is. It's just past 7 o'clock in the morning for us out here in Utah. And as you can see, the sun is rising just over the mountains, which is pretty spectacular. You know, I grew up in Utah, and so um, I guess I took for granted mountains and how beautiful they are and amazing. And it wasn't until I lived outside of Utah for a while, visited different places, and every area has its own beauty, right? Every area has things that make it unique. Um, I think of I spent a lot of time in Kentucky, and man, Kentucky is such a beautiful state, so green all the time, and it's got its own beauty. Matter of fact, Louisville in the fall is like one of the most spectacular places I've ever been. Um, you go to Florida, California, that airs with the oceans. It's a beautiful in its own way, and obviously we don't have that here in Utah, but there's something spectacular about the mountains, and where we live, we have just amazing views all around us. We're kind of surrounded by mountains, and to see the sunrise and the sunset over the mountains is pretty amazing. So, anyways, I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but a couple things on my mind this morning. Um, you know, One, so just grateful uh, for those that have supported the channel and have interacted with us through comments and through kind of getting to know us a little bit. That's fun. We're not super social people in our real life, in our human to human life. I mean, I guess we are, but between work and we have of course our church community and whatnot that we're involved with, but we're not really kind of hang out with the neighbors type of people very much. And so it's kind of fun to get to know some people online, which sounds really dorky saying that. And I would have made fun of people as I was younger that said all their friends were online. But anyways, it's kind of fun to get to know like-minded people across the country and see what they're doing with their properties and see what they're doing at their different things. So that's kind of fun. Um, so that was one thing on my mind. Second thing on my mind was just more gratitude um, on our at our season of life, I guess is a way to put it. I was thinking about seasons of life, and dumb Facebook always does something crazy, but they send these memories from years ago. And in my line of work, I have to be on top of new technologies and new things all the time. So I was pretty early adopter to Facebook. So when I get memories, it's from long, long ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago. And it's kind of amazing to relive that phase of life and think about where we were at and what our goals were at that point, and how insurmountable it felt like to be able to reach those goals. And one of those goals was to move out of the neighborhood with your 0.18 acres that your house barely fit on, and you were, could almost touch your neighbors on each side. We wanted to, get away from that, and not that that was a bad thing necessarily, but it didn't really match what we wanted and what we saw our life to be. And at the time, it felt like that wasn't possible. Like there just was not going to be any scenario where something like that was going to be able to happen and take place. And so to think about that, and you think about 10 years and how fast a year goes, 10 years goes by really pretty quickly. And to think that, now we're enjoying this, beautiful place, and it's the homestead that we wanted and the property we wanted and all that stuff, and how it just kind of happens. And for us, we're God-fearing people, so we believe that God had a hand in, or God places us where He wants us to be at certain times. And I think that was the case. It certainly was not, any Tony Robbins-esque, picture it in my mind and it just comes to be, or anything like that. I think it was that, God wanted us to be where we're at in life right now, and dealing with the challenges that we have right now, and enjoying the pleasures that we have right now. That definitely seems to be a pretty consistent thing that happens in at least at least my life, probably yours as well. And I think the hard part, or at least the hardest part, I think for me, is the patience factor of it. It's really hard to be patient when you have something that you want or feel like is just part of your soul, but you don't have it at the time. Sometimes it's really hard to have that patience that it takes to for that thing to come to pass. And and I think that's the hardest thing. Even just 5-6 years ago, um, things that happened in our life that really kind of put us behind the eight ball financially, and in our housing situation and all these things. And it felt like we weren't ever really going to be able to dig out of that hole. And at the time, that feels like that's going to be your reality forever, that you're going to stay in that lowly stage, or whatever for your whole life. And that's really hard mentally and emotionally to deal with. But through a little bit of patience and a little bit of time, things kind of seem to work themselves out. So when I think about our goals that we had early on, to move out of the city and get away from a neighborhood and be able to stretch our wings a little bit, while it seemed insurmountable, things just kind of seem to happen that make it come to pass. And I'm a firm believer that and again, I'm not meaning this to be like a morning sermon, but I'm a firm believer that God wants us to be happy. God doesn't want us to be miserable. But I do believe that happiness and joy is found through learning, and through a little bit of trial and a little bit of refinement. And that is, I think, what gives you the perspective to understand the joy that you need to have in life. So I think that that's what we needed to go through, and be patient with that process. So really kind of been thinking about that this morning. Again, so grateful uh, for our state today, and am hopefully going to be wiser in being patient for whatever comes 10 years from now. Wherever we're at, whatever we're dealing with, hopefully we're a little wiser, a little smarter, and a little bit closer to God, frankly, in understanding what He wants for us in our life. So, anyways, that's my morning platitudes. So grateful for that, and just grateful to be sitting here in my My daughter works at a nursery, and she is really into gardening and plants and all of these things. And she has really dressed up our house, our inside of our house and our outside of our house with these beautiful plants. And I've really enjoyed that. Something like that that grows. So anyways, that's what's on my mind. So the other thing that's been on my mind is, what are we doing? Where are we going? And what do we want the channel to be? What kind of value can we provide? And that really is kind of the crux of it, is in all aspects of my life right now, at the stage that I'm at with my business, with our church, with our community, both local and online. I just want to be able to, and not just me, but Alicia and I, we want to be able to provide value in every interaction that we have. And so the hard thing with that, I think, with most people, most sane people, is that you don't want to be a know-it-all. You don't want to be, this is how you do it, or this is how you do that. And because frankly, when it comes to especially this type of thing, gardening, outdoor stuff, building, I'm definitely way far from being an expert. And so I frankly have no business trying to teach anybody how to do anything as far as that goes, as far as a DIY kind of a thing. But I can maybe provide a little bit of value in sharing our experiences that we're having. We have day to day in this type of an environment, and maybe share that with somebody who is at that stage where we were at 10 years ago and is feeling maybe a little hopeless, feeling like they're never going to be able to reach whatever goal they have for themselves. Maybe they're, if we're talking about property and that kind of thing, are they wanting to move out of the city and move in kind of a more rural setting? Or maybe your goal is to move out of a rural setting, move into a city. Either way, I think opportunity to kind of share some of the things, our experiences with you, and hopefully you receive some value with that. And I might be totally wrong with that assessment. I don't know. I may be off on that, but I think that's something. Matter of fact, I had somebody tell me this one time that you're not necessarily showing this stuff because it's necessarily going to teach anybody anything or whatever, but you're able to, by proxy, allow people to experience maybe something that they have a hard time experiencing. Maybe they're somebody that can't get out of their house, or maybe they're somebody that's has a handicap, or is dealing with some kind of an emotional or psychological issue. I don't know. So if we can provide some open space and some happy times, and we've been so richly blessed with family and fantastic kids, and so many things like that, that if we can bring somebody along on our journey and they can find some value and maybe a little bit of happiness, then I feel like that's my fiduciary responsibility to provide that if I can. And the internet gives us a really unique way of doing that. So anyways, so maybe I thought just for a second, maybe I thought I could just kind of do a little. I know actually we just uploaded a video of Alicia showing some of these flowers, but they're just so beautiful that I want to. Let me see if I can flip this camera around. I think I can. Yeah. So let me see if I can. Just kind of want to show a couple things because I think they're just really cool. Look how pretty. Oh, I moved out of the sun. Just some awesome looking flowers. She's done such a really a nice job. Of course, there's some old rat issues and stuff. So it's interesting, my son is actually really into cactus. And so a lot of this cactus that you see is not only stuff that he's bought from the nursery, but some stuff that he's gotten locally that he's taken cuttings from and then regrown. And anyways, it's pretty amazing. So just kind of fun stuff I get to enjoy. I want to walk. This is going to be, I should have put some shoes on, but I kind of wanted to walk and show Oh, this may be a giant mistake on this grass. Hopefully there's no bees on the grass yet, or I'm gonna have a bit of a surprise. So again, my daughter that's into planting, she's kind of taken, she's really into succulents, so she's taken this little strip, planted a whole bunch of succulents and whatnot. I just think it's really cool. I think it's great to be able to have something like that that someone can enjoy. And again, I mean, what a great opportunity to be able to, oh boy, that's bright. What a great opportunity to be able to provide a space to be able to kind of foster somebody's passion. Make sure I don't step in any chicken bombs here. So anyways, that's kind of it. Just wanted to check in. Like I say, do a little testing on the mobile streaming capabilities with YouTube, as far as being able to go live on my phone here. And then just wanted to share a little bit about my morning and kind of what was on my mind. I've been accused of being a rambler a little bit in the past, and so my apologies if I just ramble, because I know that I do sometimes. But I just wanted to say hello and kind of reintroduce ourselves to the front porch and give this a shot. So anyways, with that, I will talk to you later, and we'll see you soon.